cost of a security breach, and that is a serious security breach, such as Equifax that we were talking about earlier. We've got Capita at the moment as well. The average cost of that is currently $4.45 million. And application security is a critical concern for organizations to protect their software and data from various threats and vulnerabilities, right, as we know. And so this really is something which is very detrimental to organizations. They're frequently struggling with identifying and mitigating these types of vulnerabilities within their organizations. You know, some common vulnerabilities, we've already mentioned them. We've got access control issues, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, authentication, authorization issues, insecure API integrations. Attackers are able to exploit these in order to gain unauthorized access, disrupt the application. You know, this can lead to data breaches, other security incidents, and no organization wants that. This can have huge impacts. It can damage your company reputation. It can be even more impacting, you know, as well as just the money. So the reputational damage is very difficult to undo. That can result in you know, losing clients and not maintaining the existing client base that you have. And so one interesting thing I'd like to share is how we as an organization at Secure Code Warrior start to deal with this. And we've talked a little bit about that training. And I'd like to just go into our platform and show you a practical example of what that looks like. So when we train our developers, what we do is work with organizations, firstly, to understand exactly what it is they are trying to achieve. What areas are impacting the most? Are they OWASP related? Are they PCI related? Have we got compliance things that we need to look at? Do you have access control issues that means that you're frequently getting hacked, for example? And when we identify those areas, we build out some training material that looks a little bit like this, where developers are given this gamified system. So we know that developers and gaming are synonymous with one another, that developers enjoy, the feedback that we get is that they much more enjoy a gamified platform where they can practice and learn in this type of environment rather than spending one day sitting in a classroom and not retaining that information. When developers use the platform that we have here available, they spend their time doing short, sharp challenges like this, where they're given some code snippets, they're given some insight into vulnerabilities, and then they are challenged to identify those vulnerabilities in real code snippets. So this is a very familiar environment for developers. It's very comfortable for them. It can be done in their own time. They'll spend 5 minutes while they're having a coffee, and those 5 minutes a day while they're having a coffee is invaluable for the organization. Give them these 5 minutes every day to play on this system for something which for developers, for all intents and purposes, feels very much like a game, but has a real serious undertone. You know, it gives you very great insights into what your developers know and what they don't know. That enables you to hone more into the areas where developers need to learn further. And when they start to learn, you can reduce massively those vulnerabilities. I talked about the identification, location, and fixing of vulnerabilities, and we focus on those three areas mainly because we know, or we focus mainly, on the locating and fixing, because we know, as I said, many developers can identify a vulnerability. Well, you know, so what? When it comes to locating it in your code and fixing it, that's really where the value adds for the organization. So here we see that developers are asked to, with the challenge to locate a vulnerability, and looking through these code snippets, they can see these potential vulnerabilities highlighted and submit their answers in. Those challenges are done really, really quickly. And if they want to learn more about these vulnerabilities, they do so by selecting to learn more, and they get some really good video information, which teaches them in really short, sharp bursts. See, we've got a 2-minute video here, which teaches an organization all about a vulnerability in such a quick way that they are able to, you know, learn very quickly while enjoying themselves with a coffee, score some points, see their gamified points go through onto the leaderboard, and then they can get on with their day, right? But this information sticks, and we equate it often like going to the gym. So you don't buy a gym membership, go once, and then you're done for the year. You've got all your muscles built up. You have to work at it little and often. It's the same with your brain, with your muscle memory. You build up this muscle memory as you spend your time learning about these vulnerabilities. And as you practice them and see them more and more over and over, you are able to put that into practice. Now, just for the record, I wasn't trying to solve this vulnerability. I'm not going to sit while everyone watches me reading through some code, but this is just an example of how we deal with that. So the developers in this case are given a multiple choice where they can select some of these vulnerabilities. And if you get the answer incorrect, you're given more information as to why you're incorrect. If you're correct, you're told why you're correct. We're also able to keep trying or reveal answers. So developers aren't stuck in a platform that they can't move through. They are given the flexibility to learn at their own pace. And this also comes along with the ability to then review the code. So we can go back, we can start to understand, the context of that. Why the vulnerability in this instance is this portion that has been highlighted, and where that fits into the overall code snippet and how that impacts downstream further elements of the code and so on. And then the developers will start to work through understanding the vulnerable code and the solutions for that vulnerable code. So here we're seeing that we have our vulnerable code on this side. This is what we must remove, and these are the potential solutions. Developers are given a choice of 4 different solutions they're able to work through. So they really start to more thoroughly understand those snippets, the impact, the potential fixes, and they can submit their answers. They can ask for hints and get some help so that they don't get stuck in the platform, or they can submit their answer. And again, for the record, I was just selecting one randomly just to show you how this system works. But always we're reinforcing that information, that learning, small snippets, small digestible pieces here and there. And we also combine that with the utilization of a Slack channel as well, where the developers can talk to one another and get advice and have a bit of a forum there so that they can chat. And so we find that this utilization of these small snippets of training this way really help an organization to progress and to stop implementing these types of vulnerabilities in the first place.